Some people dig for bones, others dig for truth. I do both. I'm Dakian, and this is Barren Bones. In the dust of fallen empires, the strangest stories survive. Franz Baron Nopcsa von Felső-Szilvás. Say it once, and it sounds noble. Say it again, and it sounds made up. But the man was real. Too real. Born in 1877, in the shadow of the Carpathians, in a place called Deva, same town I was born in. We even walked the same hills. Heir to a vast fortune, a Hungarian noble in a Romanian land, a product of empire, already out of place, already watching it all collapse. He was 18 when his sister found dinosaur bones on their estate. That's how it started. It was 1895 that my sister Ilona found bones of prehistoric animals on our Transylvanian estate, he would write in his memoirs. I searched feverishly for the origin of these puzzling bones. In the light of day, I soon located numerous bone fragments, some vertebral bones, as well as an intact skull in the vicinity in the exposed rock layer. Meanwhile, it turned to autumn, and I had to return to my desk at the Vienna Theresianum. Heavy-hearted, I left the locality behind me, but carried the fossils with me to the royal city of Vienna, and there show them to the world-renowned professor of geology, Edward Seuss. My finds were a sensation for the researcher. Soon, it was established that we were dealing with the remains of giant prehistoric reptiles from the Cretaceous period. The Academy of Science in Vienna at once made the decision to send Art Haber, the prominent docent of the Vienna University, to Transylvania and to entrust him with the investigation of the place, or in any case, with a scientific workup of the fossils. Nevertheless, the entire matter came to nothing. Even though Art Haber received the honorable order, the transfer of the necessary money was delayed over and over and over again by the Academy, since they hoped that the wealthy Art Haber would get tired of the long delay and travel to Transylvania on his own expenses. Heavy-hearted, I saw how my favorite plans were dissolving into nothing. The matter that began with a loud hooray had lost everyone's interest. So, for a second time, I looked for Professor Seuss. He welcomed me with the invitation to describe the find myself. I answered him with amazement that what he desired was impossible. I had of no sort scientific background, no osteological knowledge whatsoever. Then learn it, he said. I did not ponder very long, but engaged full of momentum in the study of the anatomical collection and library. I learned day and night, on work days as well as on holidays. The exhausting work threw me into a sickly condition, but at the end of the study year, my first manuscript was finished. So I came to the university and there became a paleontologist. Well, most aristocrats hunted foxes. Nopcsa hunted fossils and secrets. By 26, Nopcsa had earned his first PhD. Paleontology. Not just bones, but behavior, ecology, evolution, social interaction. He didn't just describe fossils, he imagined their lives. He was the first to do so. He looked at a skeleton and saw a drama. He founded what we now call paleobiology. He was decades ahead. Back then, he called it paleophysiology, but the term didn't catch. And still, he wasn't satisfied, because bones were just part of his story. Out of all the things he could have done, he decided to go to Albania and study it. So he mapped northern Albania, wrote about their tribes, languages, customs, dressed like a local, ate with the shepherds, took blood oaths with tribal leaders, slept on dirt floors, fluent in several Albanian dialects, pretty much obsessed. You have to understand, Nopcsa didn't just study Albania. He wanted to rule it. In 1913, during the Albanian independence movement, Nopcsa offered himself as king. Yeah, that's right. A master of disguise, fossil-obsessed aristocrat, applying for the Albanian throne. He even submitted a full political proposal to Vienna. Promised to modernize Albania, bring railroads, schools, science. They laughed. He didn't. Under these circumstances, he wrote, I decided to take a step that could easily make me look ridiculous and cast all my previous Albanian work in a negative light, but which, given the circumstances, I nevertheless dared to take. I informed His Excellency Conrad that if I were supported by Vienna, I too would be willing to be among the candidates for the throne, and explained to him that all I needed was a one-time payment of a large sum of money to buy off the so-called Albanian patriots in order to have them proclaim me prince. Once a reigning European monarch, I said, it would be easy for me to obtain the remaining necessary funds through marriage, which I otherwise certainly disliked. Marriage with a wealthy American woman aspiring to a royal title. I was assured of the support of the inhabitants of the northern Albania due to my actions from 1910 and 1911. He came this close. But then history blinked and gave Albania to someone else. So he joined the Great War instead, fought for the Austro-Hungarian army, served as an intelligence officer, wrote spy reports in invisible ink, tracked rebels, dodged bullets, probably killed and gave orders to kill. This man, who loved bones, who wrote poems in coded journals, was also a soldier. In her article on Nopcsa in the Smithsonian magazine, Vanessa Veselka would write, I'm suddenly struck by the similarities between Lawrence of Arabia and Nopcsa. Lawrence, an archaeologist, was also in love with the past. Both men had been spies during World War I, conducting espionage under the auspices of scientific research. Although, in the case of Nopcsa, you might say he was conducting scientific research under the auspices of espionage. Both mastered multiple languages and were able to infiltrate fiercely independent cultures. Lawrence, the Bedouin, and Nopcsa, the Albanian mountain man. Both took on tribal customs and dress and sought to lead insurgent forces against the Turks. Both were men of empire, and both were presumed homosexual during their lifetimes. Even littler things were similar. They were each obsessive motorcyclists. Lawrence died in a motorcycle crash, and Nopcsa demanded to be cremated in his motorcycle gear. But T.E. Lawrence became Lawrence of Arabia, and Nopcsa died in penury. I wonder if the comparison had ever occurred to Nopcsa, and if it had, what might it have felt like for him to fall short? Nop-joke. So Nopcsa walks into this bar. Lawrence of Arabia nods. Desert tribes? Mountain tribes. They clean glasses and swap spy tips. So let's talk a bit now about the odd stuff. Nopcsa photographed extinct Albanian tribes, rode motorcycles, traveled with a loaded pistol and a fossil hammer. He was followed everywhere by his manservant and companion, Bajazid Elmaz Doda, an Albanian man he met during his field work. Nopcsa called him his secretary. Paleontologists called him scandalous. Nopcsa filed academic papers, poems, and espionage notes in the same notebooks. He was elected a full member of the Hungarian Academy of Sciences, only to resign 2 years later. He drew the genealogical map of the primitive wooden plows of the Balkan Peninsula, collected ancient Illyrian coins. He wore an Albanian burial cloth for warriors that fall in battle, wrapped around his head as a scarf, carried extremely valuable jewelry over the border, packed in nothing but a piece of newspaper. Strawberry jam was his sweet tooth. And in 1919, he hijacked a plane with a gun. The world's first plane hijacking. But that part we'll get to later. So who was Franz Nopcsa? A scientist who wanted a kingdom? A queer man in a world that denied him one? An eccentric genius? A failed monarch? A ghost hiding in his own footnotes? This season, we follow the files. Don't forget to subscribe. Watch closely. The clues have been there all along. Together, we'll crack the myths, translate the letters, follow the fossils. You'll meet the man behind the madness, and the madness behind the legend. You may think you've heard strange history before, but you haven't heard barren bones yet. Ashes to ashes, fossils to memory. This is Barren Bones. I'm Dakian. Sunny days.